So this story, Bholi, is a very sensitive one and a very beautiful one also. It is all about girls' education and about the evil system of dowry, and how this one girl fights up to not give dowry for her marriage. And this is exactly what it is all about, and it's a very beautiful one that has been written by K.A. Abbas. Now, why is she called Bholi? Bholi's real name was Sulekha, and she was Ramlal. Ramlal was her father. She was Ramlal's fourth daughter. And there was a reason why she was called Bholi. It was because she was a simpleton. She was a simpleton in the sense, a simpleton is a person who lived in a very simple manner, and somebody who you can fool very easily, a very naive person. And when she was 10 months old, she unfortunately falls from the cot, from the bed, and she injures her brain in such a way that she remains a backward. She becomes a slow learner, which means she's not able to match up with the other children her age. Till about 2 years old, she was very pretty, she was very fair, she was very good to look at, but sadly, she was again hit by smallpox. And that smallpox was very intense and it left black pock marks all over her body, which would remain for life. So, she could not also speak till the age of 5. And when she started speaking, she stammered. Uh, that is obviously something that the society does not accept very easily. And so everybody made fun of her. So this made her speak very less. So everything happened together with Bholi. She fell from the cot, so she became a slow learner. She was hit by smallpox, and so her body was covered with black marks all over. And then, because of lack of confidence, she couldn't speak until 5. When she did start speaking, she was stammering, and people made fun of her, so her level of confidence hit another low. In total, Ramlal had 7 children, 3 boys and 4 girls. Now you can see the difference here. The 3 boys have been sent to city schools and colleges because they consider that education for boys is very important. On the contrary, from the four girls, the eldest one, Radha, has been married. Mangla's marriage had already been settled with somebody, and then they would look for an alliance for Champa, the third daughter. He wasn't worried about all of his daughters. Who he was really worried about was Bhori, because neither was she intelligent and neither was she good looking. Everybody else was very good looking, they were very healthy, but she was less intelligent and she was ugly. So even though the family belonged to a very, all of them were a prosperous farmer family, there was a lot to eat, drink, there was a lot of money, but they were very worried about the youngest daughter, Bholi, who was less intelligent and who was ugly, and their concern was who would marry her. So once there is a primary school that is inaugurated in their village, and the Tehsildar Sahib, he himself comes for the opening, and he tells Ramlal to set an example. That why don't you send your daughters to school in this primary girls' school? Ramlal discusses this with his wife, but she refuses, and she says that, what if we don't find an alliance for, what if we don't find a boy for our daughters if we send them to school? Men don't want such kind of girls. But, Ramlal is very concerned that, what answer will he give to Tehsildar Sahab? And so his wife gives them the idea that why not send Bholi to school? Anyway, she is not, intelligent. She is ugly. It's anyway going to be difficult to find a boy to give her away in marriage. This way we can, avoid disrespecting Tehsildar Sahib. And at the same time, I can stay away from her and the teachers can worry about her. We can see a very contradictory nature of a mother over here, wherein a mother is usually very concerned about a child that she has, but here we have a mother who is very opposite to the mothers that we see around us. Ramlal, on the day when he wants to drop Bholi to school, he holds her hand to take her there, but Bholi refuses to go. She's very scared. She remembers the incidents where a few days ago her old cow Lakshmi had also been taken out of the house like that, and then she was sold. So she was scared that even she will be taken away from home and never brought back inside. So Ramlal scolds her and he orders the family members to dress her well. Now, all these years, she never got new clothes. They were like, who's going to look at her anyways? She's ugly. So she used to get all the torn and worn out clothes from her elder sister. But now, since they had to go out, they had to take her out, they wanted to make sure that the family's reputation is not spoiled. So the clothes that had shrunk, which belonged to Champa, they washed those clothes, they gave her a bath, they dressed her well, they oiled her hair, and she was made to look good, presentable at least for that matter. That is when she realized that she was at least going to a place that would be better than her home. So she walked to her school with her father. When she went there, the school had already started and she was very scared. Her father left her there, but she was very scared. And so the teacher tells her to sit in one corner of the classroom. She was very elated to see that there were so many other girls, some were reading books, some were writing on slates. She was very happy to see all of that, and she thinks that since all of these girls are my age, I will probably make some new friends, because she was completely lonely. But when the teacher starts speaking, when the teacher starts teaching, she does not understand anything, and she gets wandered away in thoughts after she sees the pictures on the walls, and she's very fascinated by the colors that are there in the pictures. Like, she sees a brown horse and she compares it to the Tehsildar's cow. Horse. Then she sees a cow and she compares it to how it looked like Lakshmi. She sees a green parrot and she remembers how she saw parrots in the mango orchard. And then she sees a black goat, and which resembles to the goat that her neighbors have. So she's very fascinated with all the things that she's seeing around her. Just then, she finds that her teacher is standing next to her, and she asks Bholi her name. Now, Bholi is somebody who has a lack of confidence, so she stammers. She's not able to say her name properly. And sadly, all the other girls around her start laughing at her. She's so embarrassed that she doesn't even lift her head up, and she keeps crying even after the bell is rung and everybody has left the classroom. She sits there crying. That's when the teacher looks at her and she calls her once again. Now, Boli finds the teacher's voice very soothing, very comforting, very friendly, and the teacher asks her and motivates her to say her name again. And when she does say the name, she is very encouraging about it. Now she wants to remove the fear from Boli, and she encourages her that, if you start speaking if you remove your fear and start speaking, you will be able to speak like the other girls in this class. And Boli is very surprised when she comes to know that, and she's very happy. And the teacher gives Boli a book, because the teacher realizes that this girl likes colors. So she gives her a book which has a lot of colors and a lot of pictures and words written in it. And she guarantees that one day Boli will also be able to read like that. And once she's able to do that, she will give her an even bigger book. So there is a new, hope in her life, and she finds that, life has suddenly become so nice. And there is a very nice dramatic explanation of how she hears the village bells ringing from the temples, and she feels like there are red blossoming flowers from the trees outside her school and home. So she feels like there is a breath of new, fresh air in her life. Now she continues to go to school. Many years pass, and the city becomes a town. There are a lot of changes, like the mail train starts to stop at their station. There is a cinema hall there, and there are all of these changes in the city. And just then, Bholi, in the corner of the courtyard, she hears her parents talking that there is a good prospect for Bholi. The man's name is Bishambar Nath. But Ramlal is very concerned because the man is age. He's almost his own age, and the man already has grown up kids from his first wife. He limps, but what he is happy about is he has an own house and he has thousands of rupees, which means he was a well-to-do person. The wife, immediately agrees, and she says that, they don't know about Bholi. Bholi is, not intelligent. Bholi is not beautiful. And since this Bishambarnath is from a different village, he will not, refuse to this marriage. And she fears that, if we don't get her married to such a man, then nobody else will marry her, and calls her own daughter a dumb cow, that we do not need to take her permission. Let us just get married to this man no matter what he is. And Ramlal agrees, and Boli does not say anything. Now, on the day of the marriage, there is a lot of pomp and show, and there is a lot of splendor. He comes with a big procession. He comes in a typically Dulha avatar, and he's sitting on a decorated horse. There's a brass band, there's Bollywood music, and all her other sisters, Boli's sisters, are very envious because they did not get such a grand wedding. Now, Boli comes dressed in a red dress, and she reaches the sacred fire. And just then, when her veil, what we call a ghungat, it slips behind a little bit, and he sees her face, and he finds that she is not beautiful. And so he tells his friend that, this girl is not beautiful. His friend tries to convince him and says that, so what, you're old as well, so it's okay. But he does not agree. He says that he needs a dowry of 5,000 rupees on the spot, if in case the father wants him to marry his daughter. Now Ramlal is very humiliated. He puts his honor, his turban, in India, as you can see that when the girls' side, the men wear a turban, which is like an honor for them. That is their respect. And so he puts his entire respect at Vishambharnath's feet, and he begs that I do. How will I give so much? Maybe I can give you 2,000, but Vishambharnath does not agree. He says that either you give me 5,000 rupees or I walk away without marrying your daughter. Ramlal is left with no choice but to indeed give in and gives him 5,000 rupees. Now Bholi is watching all of this, and just then, he comes back. Bishambar is very happy because he's triumphant. He was victorious in getting what he wanted. And just when he's about to garland her with marigold flower garland, Bholi, she strikes like a bolt of lightning, like very quickly. And the garland falls in the fire. And she screams Pitaji, which means father. Now everyone is startled, everyone is surprised that Boli is speaking, and she's not stammering, she's speaking like any other normal person. And she tells her father that she refuses to marry this particular man who's so greedy and who's asking for money to marry her. Ramlal is very thunderstruck. He's surprised. The villagers start whispering. It's a typical, Indian society where they consider that how shameless the girl is. First of all, she's ugly, and now she's, refusing to marry the person. She's being rude, and Bholi hears all these whispers, and she fumes. She gets angry at the old lady, and she says that I'm angry that you're making me marry such a heartless creature. She calls the man greedy and a very contemptible coward, and she says that I am not going to marry a man who is so greedy. Now the ceremony ends. Vishambharnath returns without getting married. Everybody else leaves, and Ramlal is sitting alone. He's crying because he's ashamed and he's in grief. And he asks her that, "What are you going to do now? What am I going to do with you?" And the narrator calls her. Finally, here you can see that the narrator, finally does not call her Bholi, but he says Sulekha, and she says that Sulekha wants to serve her parents, and she wants to teach in the same primary school where she has once studied. And just then we realize that that same teacher has been standing in the corner of the room, and she has been witnessing the entire incident, and she's so proud of the student that she has brought out of earlier Bholi and now Sulekha. And that's when both of them, both Sulekha and the teacher, feel a deep sense of satisfaction, and they compare this feeling or to the contemplation of the completion of a masterpiece by an artist, which means that the teacher is an artist who has completed a masterpiece, who has created such a student, such a human being that she is very proud of. So you can see that it is a very beautiful story where this girl stands up for her education, and that education gave her the right place in the society, and she could stand up against an evil practice of dowry.